Czy jak pani sekretarka w szkole wady to albo pani prezenterka w telewizji. Dobry wieczór. Cześć, it's Michalina from Coffee That Gives a Fuck. Here we came to the last episode of the series talking about information placed on bags of specialty coffee and how to use understanding them to your advantage. In the last 4 episodes, I was explaining one of the, in my opinion, most flavor and quality affecting factors or actions taken in the coffee production. I was talking about processing methods, freshness of coffee, roast profiles and country of origins, but I think it's worth mentioning that they are not the only elements making coffee taste different from one another, and the information on the specialty coffee bags are not limited to only those 4. Although I chose to focus only on those because I think they underline and they show the differences in coffees the most among other factors. So perhaps knowing those factors not only will prove to you that the subject of specialty coffee is really complex, but also knowing them and understanding how and what impacts the flavor in the coffee, what changes the coffee, will help you to choose the coffee that will become the best one for you. But I don't want you to take my word for it. If you made it this far with me and only me, congratulations! But for this last episode of the series, I wanted to break the routine a little bit, so I invited other people to taste some brews with me. Let's go! So I asked 3 people who, you have to believe me, don't work with coffee and are not total coffee freak, to taste some coffee with me.
This is so exciting!
We did it in the form of so-called cupping, so all the coffees were prepared in the exact same way, according to very clear procedure about water coffee ratio, water temperature, time of extraction, grind signs, and blah blah. It's actually pretty cool. It's a great tool to grow your palate. And let's continue. They didn't know what coffee they were drinking. They also didn't know why they were drinking different coffees. What they had in front of them were 3 sets of 2 different coffees in each set. They were different by roast profile, country of origin, and processing method. Freshness of the coffees was sitting on very similar level. So starting from the left set, I prepared 2 coffees coming from different country. The roast profile was also different. The only thing they had in common was the processing method. So 2 of 3 factors that could potentially affect the flavor were different. The middle set had coffees from different country again, but with same roast profile and same processing method. So 1 out of 3 factors was contrasting. And the last set was a combination of coffees from the same country, same roast profile, but different processing methods. So again, 1 of 3 aspects was at variance, but the detail that could change the perception of the coffee has changed. So what I wanted to achieve here first was to see if all of my friends will be able to tell the difference, that all the coffees were different from one another. Having so much complexity in the glasses, so many different variations, I was pretty sure that that will be the case, so let's check it out. Can you tell the difference in those coffees? Like, can you tell that the coffees are different from one another? Yeah. Yes. Now, I strongly believe that the differences between the processing methods are the easiest to recognize among all the factors changing the flavors in coffee. The variations in flavor of coffee caused by choosing different processing methods are so big that for me, being able to recognize that the coffee are different from one another, it's very simple. So what I wanted to do with the experiment, and what I was personally very excited about, is to see if my friends would share this opinion with me. If that was the case, if we narrowed comparing the coffees to what happens inside the individual sets, after I asked the question, if you had to pick 1 set that the coffees in the sets are the most different from one another, which one would that be? All my friends should be pointing at set number 3. Look what happened.
Oh yeah!
Oh no!
Those two are the most different from each other. Yeah, I think I'll go to that one. Yeah.
Okay. At first, I was a little bit disappointed, I'm not gonna lie, because Michalina had this idea in her head and it turned out to be, well, wrong. I was honestly stressing a little because for a second I felt like everything that I was saying in previous episodes, everything that I wanted to prove with this experiment was wrong, was a failure, because 3 other people tasted the coffee in a different way that I did. But was I really wrong? For a few very scary seconds, I forgot what I think is the most important thing in drinking the coffee, that it's all very personal, that we are all individuals with different memories, different sensations, different skills, different preferences, and taking it all together, it all creates one unique coffee experience, and everyone can taste something totally different in coffee. And that is why I work with coffee, that's why I am a little bit crazy about it. And that's also what I've said like a million times already on the channel as well. Coffee tasting is very personal experience. Just because in this particular coffee I picked some almonds, you don't necessarily have to taste the same thing. I'm not saying that the first coffee you bought will be the most amazing and you won't taste anything else. You actually shouldn't. You should taste even more. This is your own journey, so you will have to find what you like the most on your own. So yes, we are tasting coffee in different ways because it's based on different factors and we are sensitive to different factors more or less. So I should rather think that this experiment only proved the diversity in coffee. And I know this experiment is probably too small for coming up with some serious conclusions, but I am not some serious scientist. I am a barista and I can tell you only what I know based on my experiences, on what I taste, what I like, on my friends' reactions, and how I am fascinated by this and how I want you to be fascinated by this as well. Suddenly it got very, very personal. This experiment reminded me why I actually started this channel, because I wanted to give you a guide to, not the recipe for, the best cup of your life. I wanted to open your eyes to the possibilities that specialty coffee can give you. So if you are at least a little willing to try, stick around for more, because I love talking about coffee and there will be more episodes coming. If you can handle me talking for roughly 10 minutes a week, subscribe to my channel. If you already do, me and all the specialty coffee beans are very, very happy. If you are curious about how the coffee can really surprise you, as it does to people who even work with coffee for a few years now, let's see each other in the next episodes. Peace and coffee. What I want to encourage people to do is to actually try all these coffees because they're all beautiful. They're all different, but they all taste good because they are all specialty.